everybody? Welcome to the MMA Breez. I'm Breeze. This is episode 26. We have Chance Englewood. He is the infamous bouncer who wound up choking out Dillon Danis or tapping him out, however you want to call it. But thank you for joining us today, man. How has life been post with Dillon Danis?
Oh man, it's been pretty well. It's been wild. It's been crazy. It's been fun, wild, and crazy, man.
Yeah, I know. I've done a few media gigs going on. Ally Quenta reached out to you. I saw he was going crazy right when it happened. He said, I need to get a hold of this guy. So who was the first person to reach out to you, and what was your reaction like when you started to get publicity?
So the first person was actually Ally Quenta, my buddy who was on Twitter, and he's super big in the MMA world and everything. He's done jiu-jitsu for years and all. He tagged me in the post, and I have like a Twitter account from like 2016 that I don't even use it anymore. I don't think I ever used it. But he tagged me in that, and I saw it, and I was like, all right, that sounds kind of cool. Let me try it. Let's see what happens. And then I hit up Al on Instagram, and then we got into ask questions and stuff like that.
Cool.
So yeah, and then I ended up doing I ended up calling in on his podcast. I wish I like video recorded his podcast because it would have been a lot cooler. But I was working that night, unfortunately, so I called him in on my break.
Hey, you made it happen. That's all.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff. You're still working with the same place?
Yeah. Oh yeah, still there. Yep.
Awesome. So real quick before we dive too much into it, I know like I said, I know you probably told the story a million times, but give us a quick rundown of how things came to fruition and how things ended.
Yeah. So it was a Saturday night. I think by now it's like two Saturdays ago, 2 weeks ago. Dillon Danis came to the bar with like this whole wedding party, and throughout the night the wedding party was coming in. It was like 50-60 people deep. He came up with 3 other friends, so 4 guys in total, and I asked them for their IDs. And the 3 guys gave me their IDs. They're all 21, 22-year-old guys. And then Dillon did not have his ID. He said he didn't have one, and I'm like, sorry, bro, I can't let you in, because by that time of the night it's like 12:30. It's a little bit late. So by that time, nobody's getting in without an ID, and I already got 2 fake IDs from the same wedding party that he was with. Wow. So that kind of puts the door on a little bit high alert,
Yeah.
So once he didn't have his ID, I told him, can't come in, man. He started getting a little bit like agitated and annoyed and stuff like that, and he's trying to say like, you don't know who I am, and like his boys were kind of like backing him up and everything. And then he Googled himself and showed me the Google page, and I'm like, well, dude, that's not an ID. That like, anybody can make up something on the internet. That's not an ID. So I just need like a driver's license, a passport, or something with your name, date of birth, and a picture of you on it, and I'll let you in. And he didn't have anything on him, I guess. And then another bouncer, Jake, like interjected himself in between the 2 of us and just told him like, man, you're not going to get in. Just get off the property, bud. And Dillon took a step forward towards the other bouncer, Jake. And while they're talking, hashing it out and everything, I walk behind Dillon and all of his friends and stuff, and just to wait and see if something happens. And if something happens, now there's 2 guys on it opposed to just 2 guys on one side,
Right.
And then they start pushing and shoving each other. A couple of the bartenders jumped over and got involved in it and stuff, and Dillon tried throwing a right hook to Jake, and before it could land or anything, I grabbed him by his neck, pulled him down to the ground, and put him in a rear naked choke.
Wow.
And I like it doesn't really show it good in like the video or anything like that, but for a second or 2 I am choking you out, just until you kind of get put into the shoes, into like the mindset of like, I'm not in a good situation, I'm not going to get out of this.
Yeah.
Let me calm down and stuff. And in the video you'll see he taps and everything, and so that's when I asked him.
Wasn't to not necessarily put him out, but you just just know like, hey man, surrender.
Oh yeah, no, I've done that dozens of times to people in the bar. I've never put anybody to sleep when I'm working. It's just it's enough to tell them, to let them know, like, just stop doing what you're doing. And that's the ultimate job of a bouncer, is to get somebody to stop doing whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he tapped me. He tapped me on my arm, and I asked him if he's all right. You good? Are you okay, bud? And he gave me a little thumbs up, and that's when I just kind of like bear hugged him a bit and just held him down until the police came.
Cool, cool. So I mean, cool, or maybe some people he probably doesn't think so. But at this point, he's Googled himself. You already know he's a jujitsu guy, or you just kind of blowing over that?
No, no, dude, I had no idea who he was. And like the Google page that he showed literally just showed a picture of him, 28. So like I don't know how he even got that. I don't know. Might have been some weird thing, or like just that's how Google presented it. Like if you Google Dillon Danis' age, that's what comes up. Something like that. But yeah, it just I mean, I knew nothing about him before this even happened, or even like a day or two after. I didn't really think anything of it.
Yeah.
The only way I found out who he was because there was a kid that works there at the bar. He's like the counter kid, you know, he takes people's orders and stuff like that and puts them in the computer. He's like 16, 17, and he's a big jiu-jitsu MMA fan too. And you know, he comes over and he's freaking out. He's like, "Do you know who that was?" And I'm like, "No, nothing." So,
Oh, I bet he was pretty ecstatic about it. I mean, that's
yeah.
funny because he is a decorated jujitsu guy. I mean,
Oh
and
yeah.
for you to just simply put him down, and for him, I mean, people were surprised at the fact that he tapped. But I heard you and some of the other media you did talk about the size disparity, where you guys are not in the same ballpark there. So, I mean, are you surprised at how easily he went down and you were able to control him?
No, I mean, I'm not really surprised by it or anything because you know I have 100 pounds on him, so that you know, again, I've now been doing jujitsu for about 2 weeks, and I've been thrown by a 145-pound kid.
Yeah.
But you know, if someone big and strong gets a hold of you, it's still, regardless of how good you are, it will be harder to get out. I assume. I don't really know.
And
Still 2 weeks
especially in
in.
those messy situations, right? Like in out in
Yeah.
the streets, like it's not like
Oh yeah.
you're in the mats and you guys are
Yeah.
dapping up. Like there's a lot of external going on.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, you said he had his posse there with him, his boys. He was with a big wedding party. Did
Yeah.
anybody else try to give you guys shit when that was going on?
Yeah. So, you know, when I was down, and all of this that I have to say is like, you know, secondhand stories because I was on the ground just kind of paying attention to what I was doing.
Yeah, right.
But one of the other bouncers told me that another guy that he was with tried getting on top of me, and he like dragged him off of me. And then another guy swung at a bartender and hit him in the face, like a whole black guy and everything.
Oh no.
Which that you know, I saw the black guy afterwards.
Right.
So there was like other stuff going on off camera and everything, but by the time he went down and by the time the recording started, it was like 3 or 4. I think it was like 3 or 4 of our guys against like the 3 of their guys, and plus the cops started coming. So they just pushed everybody down the little ramp that we have, and just to try to get space. And the police saw that I had him on the ground, and they saw that he was okay. So they just handled them first. And the guy that punched the bartender in the face, he got arrested first. They wanted to get him beforehand because you know they saw me on the ground with him, and you know all the cops it's a pretty small town, so a lot of them know me and like know a lot of the other bouncers. So they know if we're holding on to a guy, it's not because we're trying to, you know, kill this guy or anything. It's just we're holding them till they have the time to get to him, you know.
Right. So you held him down while they took care of business.
Yeah.
As far as the guy who decked the bartender, do you know who that was? Was he anybody like special?
No, it was just you know, it's just a guy that he walked up with. I don't really know much. You know, I didn't know any of the guys that he was with or anything. So, and as far as I know, they weren't fighters. I mean, I'm assuming just being around Dillon Danis, they do some sort of, you know, jujitsu or whatever, but I guess not to like his level. But yeah, you know, it's just some bunch of guys.
Okay. Yeah. And, a lot of people online were going back and forth saying, I mean, we all clearly saw he tapped. We know he tapped.
Yeah.
A lot of people were going back and forth saying, "Oh, he went out. He went out. No, he didn't go out. He went out." Where was that? How close was he? Did he for a second? None of that. Just he was all good, taken care of.
He was fine. You know, maybe for like I didn't feel him go limp or anything like that. I didn't feel him like, you know how like you start to tense up. I didn't really feel that from him. You know, he knew like once he felt the hooks in and everything, he was like, all right, let me just tap, let me get over with. And then, you know, just kind of held him there. So I don't think he was even remotely close to getting like completely knocked out.
Yeah, makes sense. And I
Yeah.
also heard coming out of different places that you had some sort of martial arts background. Do you have any experience in grappling, striking, or any of those fields?
Yeah, so I did Krav Maga when I was younger and everything for a little while, and then I worked overseas, and during my time there, I did Russian Sistema, and I worked in Eastern Ukraine.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm.
Good deal. Good deal. So,
Yeah,
how long have you been with the bar that you're with now?
2 years. This will be coming up. This will be like my third summer with them, so about 2 years and change.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. I know Dylan the other day he tweeted the phone number to the bar. And,
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was. He just tweeted a number. And so,
yeah,
as like a journalist, interviewer, whatever you want to call me, definitely not a journalist, I don't think, but a
yeah.
podcaster maybe. I was like, I was curious. So I followed up on it, called it, and got a busy line. I was like, okay. And I called it again. And then I got somebody from the restaurant. They were like, blah blah blah. How can I help you? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong number. And they were like, I could tell they knew,
Yeah.
something was going because like right when I said that, her attitude went from like, hey, how can I help you to yeah, okay. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, another one of you guys. Okay. So,
Yeah.
how much did that impact business? Is it still impacting business?
No. So when he tweeted out the number, and it was kind of it's kind of a funny story. We're a big seasonal bar. So in the summer, we have thousands of people that don't really know anything about beachcomber. So they call in and ask questions and stuff. But by this time of the year, nobody's really calling in. Like nobody really calls in much.
Yeah.
And then when he tweeted out the phone number, it rang nonstop all day,
Oh man.
like thousands of calls. Um, but within like an hour of it, they just unplugged the phone and stopped answering.
Really? Yeah. Maybe.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, because it's like October now. It's like mid-September when all this happened. Nobody's calling us to see
Yeah.
like, oh, what time you guys open? Because everyone that's there on a Tuesday night or whatever, they're all locals. They all know what time we're open till.
And
They
if
all
they were
know.
calling in, they were getting the busy tone like I did. So
Yeah. So they made the call. I wasn't working that day, but they made the call. They're like, unplug it. We'll get to this later if it's still going on.
that's funny. Has he? So you've been in the media now a little bit. You've done a couple of
Yeah.
interviews. Has Dylan tried to reach out to you or any of his buddies? Have you gotten hate online or anything like that?
No. No, he hasn't reached out to us or like to me or anybody that I know. I do get a few people that, say some stuff or like, send hate my way or whatever. And it's fair. Okay.
Whatever.
A lot of people have been saying like, dude, if that was a fair fight, Dillon Danis would kill you. I'm like, probably, dude. He's a trained fighter. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Dillon Danis is fantastic at martial arts and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and stuff. I've seen some of the stuff that he does and watches videos. He's really good. But it's not my job to fight fair. I'm a bouncer, and my job is to get you to stop doing whatever you're doing. And if that means sneaking up behind you and pulling you to the ground, that's what's going to happen.
Mhm.
And that's like one of the key differences of street fighting to like cage fighting. Is cage fighting, there's a lot of rules. On the street there is none. So somebody can just come up behind you and sneak up on you.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it
And
can be different in the streets. You can get jumped,
yeah,
weapons, time,
yeah,
space, all that stuff. Mobs, crowd.
yeah.
So
Oh, it's yeah.
good point.
It's a big difference. And usually when something like that happens, we try to just but like a whole body of wall basically,
Mhm.
and just push everyone down on a ramp so they're off our property and let the police deal with them.
Right.
But you know, my thought process when I took him down was he has that bum knee, and with the three other guys, the cops, the other bartenders, the other bouncers, I didn't want to push him down the ramp because then all it takes is him to put a little bit too much weight, land on it wrong, and that knee is shot.
Mhm.
So in my mind, that was the best way, the safest way, and the quickest way to end it. To just get him down and hold him.
Have you gotten a raise since you took?
No,
I mean,
no.
the way you're taking them down, it's like you got compassion, you're smart, you're strategic, and you're composed. It seems like you like. I guess you referenced it. You referenced it before. You've been in a lot of these now. Now it's your third summer or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's nothing new to you, huh?
No, nothing. I've done that. dozens of times this summer alone. You know, we've had knives pulled on us and stuff like that. We've had street fights, gang fights. There's been like people throwing chairs at me before. And I've only ever been hit on the job once so far. So far I'm doing pretty good. A couple of the guys had stitches and broken bones this summer. So we're doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing better than you. So our with Dillon Danis tapping to you, you know, did you I know you got invited to go start training jujitsu and you started practicing. What is your perspective now on jujitsu, and if you had known Dillon Danis and everything that he was, you know, prior to this scuffle, would anything have changed in how you approached it? Or
oh, definitely. You know, as the door guy, as the doorman, basically, you have the last say, and you have the only say in letting somebody in unless the owner is there or the manager or whatever. So if I know you, if I know who you are personally, or I know of you and stuff like that, like, you know, it happens all the time, is when, you know, people will come to the bar with no ID. But, you know, if you're my friend or something like that, or I know you, and, you know, your ID's expired by a couple of months, or, you know, you've left your wallet at the house or whatever, I know who you are, so it's okay. But if I don't know who you are and none of the other bouncers know who you are, then there's a problem there. If nobody that I can contact, you know, quickly knows who you are, then you can't get in without an ID. So if I had known who he was before all this happened, yeah, I totally would have let him in, because, you know, I know that's Dillon Danis. He's a he's 3-time ADCC championship Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, trains with Conor McGregor. I know who that guy is. Yeah. So I know he's of age. But, you know, at the time I didn't know. And you know, the fact that he was with a bunch of 21, 22-year-old kids doesn't also help, because that brings your perceived age down a lot.
Right. So, and that is interesting. I wonder if it was family, friends, what he was doing there with a crowd.
Maybe it was like, you know, little brother, cousins, or you know, whoever. I don't know. Maybe it's just some guys from the wedding that he met. I'm not really sure.
Like hanging out with youngsters.
Maybe, man. Maybe.
Well, that's funny stuff. You know, if he were to show up to the restaurant today, how would that go down?
I don't know. It would probably be out of my hands. Because, you know, if I say I'm not going to let you in because of all this, I'm not going to let you in, but the owner says let him in, then he's more than welcome to come in. But if I say he can come in and the owner said, you know, I don't know. I don't know.
I imagine this got back to the owner. I imagine they know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, he knows.
How does he feel about it?
So years ago, when, you know, the Jersey Shore was on air and stuff, Beachcomber was the bar that Snooki got like punched in the face. Some random dude just ran up and punched her in the face.
That's funny.
And
small world.
Yeah. So you know, he had like a plaque on a bar stool of like, this is where Snooki got punched. So like, you know, he's pretty used to kind of like getting publicity and stuff. Yeah. And you know, there's the town does a lot of stuff with the bar and everything, like events, charities and stuff. So he's pretty used to getting like the name out there.
Yeah.
I guess he was a little upset that the name got out so quickly, like Beachcomber Bar and Grill got put out so fast. But, you know, once he watched the video and like once he realized like everyone's reaction to it, he didn't really mind at all.
Yeah. Seems like he can. He's the type of guy to turn a negative to a positive. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's real good. Now that you've been training, you're a big guy. You know, just a hypothetical that you've been getting so much attention for this. I'm sure it's fun. Now, what if in some crazy multiverse, actual promotion approached you? Maybe let's say Bellator, and they say, "Hey, we want to pay you to fight Dillon Danis." Is like cage fighting or anything like that something that would interest you?
I mean, maybe, you know, like if they were to approach me right now and be like, we'll give you X amount of dollars for a one-off fight with, you know, with Dillon Danis or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll get my ass kicked for money. Fine. That's no problem. Okay.
Gotta have the right price though.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you know, if they're going to offer me, like I said, like a decent amount of money get my ass kicked by Dillon Danis, yeah, no problem.
I
Okay.
mean, if they offer you enough money, there's not many people that you
Oh
wouldn't.
yeah.
I'm sure, you know.
Oh man, you can give me the best fight in the world. If you're gonna pay me well, I'll get the dog shit kicked out of me.
Right
It's
on.
okay. Yeah.
That's funny.
But if they were to be like, hey man, we want to put you on tour, and we're gonna make you a Bellator UFC fighter, all this and that, I'd be like, nah,
No,
no,
doesn't interest.
no. Well, again, I'm just a dude from Jersey. I have a little bit of experience and stuff like that. There's guys there that have been training since they were like 6 years old, doing jujitsu, kickboxing, Muay Thai, like doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna put me with very minimal experience against guys that have been doing that for decades. Hell no. I'm not gonna last long. I might get 2 fights in me before someone says, who put this guy in here? Get him out of here, man.
Hey, as long as you get a couple bags and get a leave with them, that's all.
Yeah.
That's funny stuff, man. That's funny stuff. And I know, just to wind it down a little bit, I appreciate you sharing the whole story and everything. And I know you've used some of this publicity for a good cause with the JROTC, the junior ROTC stuff. Can you talk about why that resonates with you and how the viewers can go to donate?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I came from a not optimal background. And when I was in high school, a JRTC program came to my school and everything. And I joined the first year. I didn't do anything. The second year, I got a little bit better. And by the third year, I was running almost half of their S shops, which is like, a good chunk of what the program does. Just because of like personnel and stuff like that, deficiencies in the program, I ended up running like 3 people's jobs with a staff of about 60 people. And they helped me out a lot in my life, taught me how to do a lot of things that I still do to this day. And treated me well, taught me how to be a contributing member to society and everything, and kind of put me on a better path. And now the program's been established for almost like 8-9 years, I think. So now they started taking kids, the cadets, to somewhere historical throughout the United States. They've been to Gettysburg, they've been to DC, and then this year they want to go to Pearl Harbor. And not all the cadets can afford to do it, which is something that I would not have been able to afford to do years ago. So I wanted to try to help them out. And tons of people, reached out with me about trying to get my Venmo, trying to get Cash App and stuff like that to send me money. So I told them, like, listen, if you guys want to send money or whatever, that's great. I don't really want it. It kind of feels weird to take money from strangers.
Yeah.
So I just said to them, I'm like, here's a cool cause you guys can donate it to. It's personal to me. It's all these kids are great kids and everything. So let's see if we can send 1 or 2 of them to Hawaii for a week with their school program.
Fantastic, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's on your Instagram profile, right?
Yeah, I have an Instagram profile. It's Chance_3141, and there's a link there. And actually, this guy, so these guys came out from Ohio. They're called Smart Arrow Media. They did a whole interview with me and the other bouncer, Jake. Super cool guys. The video came out really cool. And now, with me and them, we started making some cool T-shirts.
Okay.
And all the proceeds from the T-shirts going to get dumped into the GoFundMe page for the ROTC program too.
Awesome.
So if people wanted shirts, they can. Yeah.
Yeah. How do we get the shirts? That's on
same place. Chance_3141. You'll see a link on my Instagram.
Okay, right on. We'll definitely do that. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing that. Before I cut you loose, man, is there anything else you want to share? Any unspoken stories or details or even just like what's next for you? Is there anything that you want to share?
What's next? Well, Tom DeBlass gave me the whole year free training. Super cool.
Oh, a whole year.
Yeah, a whole year of training at his gym. And I actually went this morning. And I tried to go Monday, but I came in late, so it kind of didn't work out because of work. But yeah, I want to try to just keep at that. And in a year of now, who knows where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing. So maybe I will, take it up to the next level. Maybe I won't.
You're still pretty young, right? Early 20s?
Yeah, I'm 23, man.
Okay.
23.
Yeah. So I mean, look, if you're enjoying it,
Yeah.
the way I look at it is compete at the level you're at with guys that are at your level. And if you're enjoying it, I'm not telling you to do something you don't like, but if you're enjoying it, you
Yeah.
have plenty of time, man. The great thing about jujitsu is you can age gracefully, like
Yeah.
guys can get into their older, even 40s and still be competing at a world level. So
Yeah.
it's a really cool sport. It's great. I know you got experience in martial arts already. So just know how young you are in it, man, and know
Yeah.
that, the ceiling is high, man. Especially with the size and age that you have, because usually, like when you get into the bigger weight classes, like those you find older guys there, and so you
Mhm.
got an advantage there. You're probably quicker, more athletic, and all that stuff. So, man, that's cool, man. Stay with
Yeah.
it, and maybe who knows, 5 years down the line, we'll see you and Dillon Danis in a BJJ
Who
match.
knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, bro. I really appreciate you taking the time, sharing.
Absolutely. Thanks
Uh,
for having me on, bro.